And somebody you know a little bit about is the Amadio wines.
Absolutely, I love their wine, but also I had the opportunity in the mid-'80s of actually working for Cadge, who established Amadio Wines in the building game, and he was there established on Paynham Road at Felixstowe, so I had 2.5 years with him before I came in and worked for Brock.
So you do know Felixstowe pretty well?
Pretty well indeed,
Well,
yes.
that's good, because we're going to talk about it.
That's good.
Before we do, John, as I said in the lead-up, you have been in the industry for a while now. How did you get into real estate and where did you start?
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of, a couple of things over the years, but I got involved in the real estate game, just fiddling around with a bit of real estate, doing a few houses up and things like that, and then bit of developing. Then thought, there's a bit more to it than that. Got into selling new homes with Cadge Amadio, and from there was invited into Brock's when it was Brock Younger in the old days in '88.
So you've been with one company. Yep. You're a one-company real estate agent.
Yes,
Let me shake your hand. You're about the only one on the planet.
Well, there you go. In fact, in part of my blurb is that I'm the longest-serving residential salesperson with Brock's, apart from Brocky himself.
Apart from Brocky himself. That is amazing. I didn't realise that, John. That's fantastic. No. Just let's talk about that loyalty. A lot of people seem to leave companies, sometimes I think for the wrong reason. The grass looks greener. You've just been extraordinarily consistent, both in performance and obviously with the same company. What would be a message to other salespeople out there?
Well, my message would be to actually find a company that does support you, that's got the profile you want, and just stay there, because the more you move, people just don't know where you are, you know, and you get a reputation for being someone who just can't stick at it, you know.
No, fantastic. That's really cool. All right. The other thing I just want to touch on before we talk about Felixstowe itself, really, really successful salesperson, and I'm going to hopefully make you red. I see you as a really, really successful business owner now. And I know it's been tough because the transition from salesperson to business owner, but you have grown your team. You are now getting some stability in your sales team just through really strong leadership. What was that? What were the challenges from sort of just looking after yourself basically to all of a sudden having all these other mouths to feed and challenges with business ownership?
Yeah, well, I think anybody who runs a business, whether it's small or large, faces the sort of problems that we have faced. I do have a business partner who looks after the admin side of things now. We started off with a third business partner that wasn't a particularly successful venture, and so we had to go through the situation of buying him out.
Yeah.
But it's just been a matter of putting our head down and working harder, and perhaps not necessarily enjoying it as much to that extent. But you know, I think the runs are starting to show. They're getting on the board, and we've got the next challenge now, of course, of getting Paynham up and running again.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. When you're talking about your other business partner, Peter Flint, I think the things that you've done really well is said, righto, Peter's skill base is this, your skill base is that, and you're obviously communication between the two of you is sound, but you let Peter do what he does well, you do what you do well, and it does seem to be coming on really, really well.
Yes, it's working pretty well.
Yeah, good on you, Johnny. Good. Righto, Felixstowe. Now, I don't know much about Felixstowe. Hopefully you do. Medium house price. Shall we start with that?
Yeah, it's varied in the last couple of years. 2009, my info on the second quarter in 2009 was that the median price was about $380, and then if you look at the same period in 2010, it's jumped to $530.
Beautiful.
Just depending on, you know, when you look at, I mean, obviously it reflects the sort of property that was sold at that time. They weren't huge numbers. I think 8 or 9 properties sold each quarter, but it has certainly gone in the right direction.
Huge growth. People at Felixstowe will be doing somersaults.
Yeah. The ones that have reflected the bigger growth or the higher figures are they've been newer properties that have been sold, and the ones that were reflecting perhaps the top end of the 300s were perhaps the older ones that are starting to get knocked over and what have you. So
can we just talk about that? It does seem to me it's a fairly small area, isn't it?
It's not huge.
No.
Yeah, about 930 homes. 2,300 people.
Yeah.
So no, it's not huge, but it's a nice, tight little suburb.
Yeah. So my feeling as I sort of drive through that area is that it is older homes. You were saying in the break that some of those homes are now starting to get knocked over and redeveloped. What is happening there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fairly typical of the suburbs that are sort of relatively close to Adelaide, but haven't been in the forefront of all the exciting stuff in the past. These homes, a bit like Glynde in a way, some of Payneham, some of Magill even, were developed they were built in the 60s when the baby boomers started building houses, and of course, those properties now, to some extent, are starting to reach their use-by date, and the people who are astute are looking at them and thinking, we might buy one of these and live here comfortably for a while, perhaps knock it over and build something new. Although the developers, of course, are moving in and as lot sizes come down, they can perhaps build multiple dwellings where there was one in the past. But the proximity to the city, it's only 10, 15 minutes.
Location.
Sensational location. You've got the linear park too on one of its boundaries, so it's lots of good stuff.
I think your office and the areas that your office look after and specialise in are the eastern suburb, as you said before, areas that are probably going to show the strongest growth in the next 5 to 10 years, as Felixstowe, I think, would have to be one of them.
Yeah, we feel that.
Yeah.
Yes. Certainly there's lots of stuff happening in most of the areas that we're looking after.
Yeah. Very, very astute ownership there, John.
Absolutely, I think so.
Picked it. What do you think's going to happen in Felixstowe for the rest of this year?
Look, I don't see any downside. I can see that it will continue to be of interest and continue to grow, starting from a relatively affordable base.
Yes.
I think it's all good for every owner there.
Yeah. So people should be putting Felixstowe on their shopping list if they're looking to live in the eastern side of town.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't know where it is because it's not one of those suburbs that jumps out at you.
No.
But yes, it's worth investigating.
Well, I tell you what they should do to find out is give you a call. Your mobile number is, John?
0418 822 176.
You are the man, and you could email John on...
john.joyce, Joyce, at brockharcourts.com.au.
If you want accurate, to-the-minute information, John is your man. Property of the week, 16 Almond.
Almond.
Bugger. Almond Grove, Magill.
As the nut.
The nut, right. What can you tell us about that before we go to the record that you've done?
Yeah, that is an amazing house. It was built a bit over 10 years ago, sitting on just under 650 square metres, but it's a two-storey place built by Marshall Thompson. It's set up as 3 bedrooms and a study, lots and lots of entertaining area. It's got a lounge which is double height ceiling, sensational. You've got a huge tall window which really makes a statement. You've got drapes that drop about 20 feet I reckon there. Yeah, it is. It's fantastic.
Well
done. Kitchen, which in the blurb you'll see I talk about a Versace touch. I mean, it's all black and ochre and silver, black appliances. Really quite amazing.
Shall we have a look at it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, here we go. 16 Almond Grove, Magill.